emails that they did not produce to state and that we did not find elsewhere and that are now gone because they deleted all emails they did not produce to state, and the lawyers then cleaned their devices in such a way as to preclude complete forensic recovery.
Yeah, in other words, she paid specialists to delete everything really. I know, that's it. But that's what I'm saying. People who were in the mainstream, they had no idea how to even read the simplest of statements. Although, again, the response, particularly from the media in general, MSNBC, CNN, ABC, they were all understanding how horrible this really was. It was raining on Hillary's parade of not being indicted. Just a few examples. This Andrea Mitchell, MSNBC.
It's going to be very tough. I mean, they're going to point to the fact that there is no criminal prosecution recommended. But the fact is, she has been saying for more than a year now that she never sent or received anything that was classified at the time, and his analysis completely disputes that, her main argument. He speaks of the carelessness of it. He also spoke to the fact that it was likely hacked by hostile actors. That would mean Russia, China, even possibly North Korea.
She says that China. That was good for her.
China. Even possibly North Korea.
China. You can't say anything about Trump now.
Korea, the major internet and cyber war actors. The fact that she used her devices overseas, that it was careless to use, to have classified information stored not just on the private server, but the fact that she was passing information back and forth to people in the State Department, and were using the unclassified State Department system, not the classified system. So the carelessness and the criticism of that carelessness at the State Department, which he said was unusual in the U.S. government, is also on her watch. This is politically very damaging, not as damaging as a prosecution, obviously, not as legally fraught as a prosecution would be, which could be disabling for a nominee, a presumptive nominee, just weeks before the convention.
And then we have, this I think was the CNN. This was included biographer Jonathan Allen about the report.
James Comey is going to testify before this House Oversight Committee. You probably watched this news conference just as I did yesterday. It was, it was bad for Hillary Clinton. It was devastating for Hillary Clinton. Why isn't this enough for Republicans?
It was less devastating for Hillary Clinton than the FBI recommending criminal charges against her. But I agree with you, it was a really devastating moment for her in terms of the trust question, in terms of the honesty question, in terms of whether or not she may have violated statute. Jim Comey didn't even say that she didn't break the law. He simply said that no reasonable prosecutor would prosecute him with the FBI had done. I think House Republicans want to hear more of that. If they could hear 11 hours of that, like the 11 hours of Benghazi testimony Hillary Clinton gave in October, but have it be bad for her as opposed to the 11 hours of Benghazi testimony, they would get that from Jim Comey. They'd like to hear him talk as much as possible.
And that is exactly what's happening today. And why is it all biographers of politicians, royalty, politicians and royalty mainly, they have fat heads? You ever notice that? They're usually gay guys with fat heads. I mean, I don't want to single them out. It's getting to them.
So one little thing here I want to play.
I'm just going to play the funniest response. The funniest response. The funniest response is from The Daily Show, which has dropped significantly in its numbers.
Actually, watch this. This is interesting. Where'd you must get from somebody else?
I tend to check in. I do not like Trevor Noah. He doesn't have. When he says something nasty about America, it feels wrong. Get out of here, South Africa. That's what I'm thinking. When Jon Stewart does it, it's different. But he did a good job on this one.
Did Hillary tell the truth about anything? I feel like the next time I hear them say, I'm Hillary Clinton and I approve this message, the FBI director is going to pop out and be like, her real name is Philip G. McAdoo.
I actually looked that up to see if that was something, a reference I should have understood. It wasn't, as far as I could tell.
Why, Hillary? Why? You don't understand that your lies have besmirched the Clinton name, a name synonymous with integrity. You know, that's not the point. That's not the point. The point is, that's the point. The cornerstone of Hillary's entire campaign has been the idea that she's the responsible candidate, sound judgment, disciplined, dependable. Hillary Clinton is basically the Volkswagen of candidates. She's the efficient, practical choice that's been in the game for years. And now, just like Volkswagen, turns out there's a whole lot that she's been hiding from us. Come on, Hillary.
I thought that was for the Daily Show. So
Yeah.
are we still all going to hold our nose and vote for Hillary?
Well, when I first saw this, and I think No Agenda listeners that know our theory about the FBI being in with Clinton and the CIA being in with Hillary, that this is a rig. And rigged for Clinton. I think that Clinton is I think he's a weak candidate, if they're looking at it in retrospect.
Clinton?
No, Trump. Trump's a weak candidate, and if Clinton got indicted, she'd be out, and he'd have to deal with Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders, either one of them would beat him. He can beat Hillary. He's always known he can beat Hillary. I think he can beat Hillary, and I think he will beat Hillary, but he won't beat Bernie Sanders, and he won't beat Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren drives him crazy. He doesn't know what to do with her.
Yeah, but
I want to play this clip. Now, this is the clip that I think he's giving away a code to let us know, let the insiders know that this was fine and dandy.
Okay.
And this is straight out of this is right out of his, I think it was a Cincinnati meeting. This is the Trump rant with code.
No problem. You know, I wrote out a couple of things about Hillary, crooked, so crooked. She made so many false statements. Is she going to be brought before Congress or something? Is something going to happen? Is something going to happen? Because it's a disgrace. Hillary Clinton claimed that the reason for her illegal use of a private insecure email, right? She claimed this was that it was more convenient to use just one device. Oh. The fact is the FBI director said Hillary used several different servers, even though she said it was one, and numerous mobile devices to send and read emails. In other words, Hillary's secret email server existed for the reason we all know, to keep her emails from ever being read by the public, had nothing to do with just wanting to use one device, okay? We understand that, but that's not what she said. She said something very different under oath. She said something very different to everybody. Now, by the way, and how about the 33,000 emails that were wiped out? 33,000! How did you get 33,000 emails? And it was wiped out.
Yes, nice.
Says it 3 times.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to you right off the bat. I missed that. That's a good one. He says 33,000, and it's always been 30,000, and he said it 3 times.
Yeah.
Well, I agree.
And
In analyzing what Comey said precisely, well, actually, we'll play this, but this was kind of interesting. This was former Attorney General Alberto Gonzalez. And the guy was really good. Didn't he do some crappy stuff, this Gonzalez guy?
he's the guy they rousted because he was all for torture.
Right.
He's a horrible guy.
Didn't he make someone sign something on his deathbed in the hospital? Is that Gonzalez?
There was that, but
Yeah.
he was a bad actor.
Yeah. He weighed in.
Attorney General, what are your reflections on Jim Comey's decision yesterday?
Well, you know, it's surprising. I'd have to say, of course, I've given the benefit of the doubt without actually looking at the evidence, but given his public statements and what's in the record, I'm a little bit surprised at the outcome. But you know what I'm really surprised about was his statement that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. That is not his job. His job is to do the investigation, present